it's Keza, also known as Kyla Loves Gory Movies. I am back with this. I need to apologise because I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm gonna plough through with my favourite films review month, and so you'll get this one now, and then you'll get the third one as normal tonight. So this one was supposed to be done last night, but I'm doing it now. So let's get into it as always. So it's day 2 of 31 days of my favourite movies challenge, and of course I had to pick a good one. So last night I done a horror. No, the night before. The first night I done horror. Last night I done a film from the year I was born, and it's not your typical film. Would have been a load I chose from, but as a lot of you guys know, I am a big fan of certain dancing movies, and this one is one of my favourites, so I had to put it in. This had to be in my list. So day 2 of 31 days of my favourite movie challenge is, I've chosen the movie Staying Alive from 1983. Oh my god, she chose it! Right. Starring John Travolta as Tony Manero, Cynthia Rhodes as Jackie. If you don't know who Cynthia Rhodes is, just watch Dirty Dancing, and then she was Penny in Dirty Dancing, and I think she was in another film I can't remember. Finola Hughes as Laura. There was a cameo right at the beginning by the director of the movie, which I'll reveal who the director of the movie is. Steve Inwood, I think he was Laura's original dance partner in the film. Julie Bavasso. Hang on, Steve Inwood. Steve Inwood could either be the dancer or the director, one of the two. Julie Bavasso is one of the choreographers, and Frank Stallone is played by Carl in this. So if you get who Frank Stallone is, and you get who Sylvester Stallone is, then you'll find out that the director of and written this film was Sylvester Stallone. Most of the songs were by the Bee Gees, Frank Stallone and Tom Farquhar. I can't pronounce the name properly, but anyway, here we go. As you guys know, before I go into this, when I do these reviews, it's when I write it down, it's in my sort of weird writing, so just bear with me. And then at the end of what I've written down, I'll give you my whole thoughts. So here we go. Movie starts out with John Travolta dancing his backside off, which is amazing because you'll find out. Then John Travolta gets kicked out, then walks along the street to his workplace. And just before he gets to his workplace, he bumps into Sylvester Stallone. There's the cameo there. And then he gets to his workplace and teaches his dance class, bumps into Jackie, who was played by Cynthia Rhodes, and then talks to the owner, Tina, and tries to flatten her, and then goes and teaches his dance class, and then leaves his dance class and runs back to his apartment and takes a shower, gets changed, and then goes to a club where he does like bar waiter. Then talks to a girl who says, "Why do I buy so many drinks?" And Tony goes, "Why?" He's curious, but he can't be asked. And he say, "I like to watch you walk," because he's got a good strut on him. Then two other ladies approach him at the bar and asks him to go to a party, but he declines, and the girl pushes him and tells him, "You're not a relationship." sorry, you're not a relationship, but you're only exercise. Then the next thing we find out, he's woke up next to Jackie and says he has to go as he wants to be a dancer, and then walks out to the street and tries out to see what he can get, but gets turned down. And then he takes a walk with Jackie, then gives her a kiss and says goodbye, and asks to watch her dance. But at the last second turns up and watches Jackie dance, but is fascinated by another dancer whom he's mesmerised by her and can't take his eyes away from her, as he's really impressed by her dancing, and Tony claps as he loved her dancing and said that Jackie was fantastic. Then Jackie tells him that she will meet him outside as she needs to change. So Tony knocks on the door and tells her that she's an incredible dancer. This is Laura, by the way. He tells Laura that she's an incredible dancer and wants to talk to her and says how incredible she is and starts to chat it up. Then tries to predict her future and says he's right for her, but then she closes the door on him and then he walks away, but then the next thing he barges in anyway and continues to talk to her and proceeds to ask her out. She declines and tells him she's going to a new show tomorrow and they need 30 dancers. So he tells her that he will see her tomorrow and bumps into Jackie, and Jackie tells Tony that she's working at the club and starts to talk about other dancers and tries to make her jealous. Then Jackie walks off and tells him that she will see him tomorrow. Then at the newest audition, Jackie got her part, and now it's Tony's turn to have his audition, and he dances his heart out, but the director says he'll only need 2 male dancers. Sorry. And as Tony leaves, the top dancer is waiting for him, which is Laura. He's a really good dancer and asks her out. Then they both sarcastically cancel their prior appointments and spend some time together. So they walk and talk for hours, starts to dance with each other in the street, then runs to a horse and carriage, but wouldn't stop for Tony, but stopped for Laura as she produced money. Then they slept together and she tells him to leave, but before he leaves he tells her that he respects her and she tells him good night, but asks him not to take it personally and it's only until tomorrow. Tony runs out in the rain and calls Jackie at 3 o'clock in the morning and asks if she's alone and tells her that he will see her tomorrow. Tony then paces up and down and demands that the phone rings. Then the phone does ring and answers it and is delighted to find out that he got the part. He calls his mum that he's got a job on Broadway. His mum is over the moon and will call her later with all the details. Jackie is now singing at the club and Tony comes by to watch her sing and waves to her and then continues to sing again. Tony tells her to come over and see him and congratulates on him getting on the show and asks did she have any part of him getting on the show. She says no. And he's now delighted because he's done it on his own, and they're talking and Tony gets jealous of Jackie as someone else is staring at them. Then a limo pulls up and Laura gets out and is startled as Tony sees her, but is interrupted by Laura's date and tells her date that Tony has been hired. Tony has been hired in the new production and then offers for Tony to come up for drinks to celebrate, then declines and walks off. Jackie waits for Tony but never shows. At rehearsals the director tells the dancers how it is Then the dancers leave and Tony talks to Jackie after rehearsals. But Laura interrupts them by calling them young lovers, and Laura calls Tony names, and Tony thinks that Laura was using him, and Laura thinks otherwise, and told him that everyone uses everyone. Also, while that was happening, Tony grabbed Laura and she told him to take his hands off her. Then the director looks on, and the director tells them to stop as one dancer isn't doing it right. Tony and Jackie arrange to go on a date. Then Laura asks Tony to a party at 10 o'clock. Tony doesn't care if he don't get any messages at the apartment and gets changed to go to Laura's apartment. Sorry. Arrives at the apartment and looks around. Turns around and Laura comes out with the director and looks at Tony and slowly comes over to him, but greets her guests along the way and asks him what they drink. Asks him what he drinks and tells him to go on the balcony for a better view, and then the next thing she tells him to leave as she's messing him about, and tells him that she's cold and that he knows his way out, and leaves. Jackie sings at the club again, and Tony walks in on her singing and watches Jackie hearing every word she sings. Finishes her song and the audience claps, and Tony apologises to Jackie for abandoning her. Jackie confesses her love for Tony and then she just tells him that they're just friends. Nothing more. Then Tony starts to walk along the bridge and starts to think to himself, and carries on walking to a house, opens the door, and the next thing we know he's back at his mum's and talks to his mum as she's made him some pie, and Tony and his mum start to reminisce about the house, and his mum asks him why did he come back home, and he apologises to his mum as he used to be horrible with his attitude, and his mum tells him not to say sorry, and they end up giggling, so he finishes off his mum's pie and tells his mum that he's bought her a ticket for the show, that it costs 26 bucks, as they say in America, and they both start to laugh. Laura and her dance partner start to dance the lead roles, but the director isn't happy with what he's doing, so they start to dance over. Tony asks Jackie about the lead dancers, and she says she's great, but he's too mechanical. So Tony asks Jackie out, but she has commitments. Laura leaves the studio and Jackie thinks Laura hates her, so Tony asks to meet Jackie here tonight, as he's asking her a massive favour, and agrees. Tony is at the dance studio and waits for Jackie. Then Jackie arrives late and introduces Tony to Carl, who is played by Stallone. Good night. And Tony doesn't trust Carl, so Jackie tells Carl good night and that they will see each other on Wednesday. Tony tells Jackie that he wants the lead role, so Jackie helps him memorise the dance routine for the lead. So sorry. And they're dancing it really well, then leaves very late and asks to walk her home, but declines. But Tony runs back to her and offers to walk her home and talk about the routine. And Jackie says that he could have a chance at making the lead. Then Tony starts to apologise to Jackie, and she listens to his apology while they talk it out. Oh, sorry. He didn't like the way that he treated her, and that he feels comfortable with her and wants to be with her and confesses his love for her. Then they walk up the stairs together. The lead dancers are dancing and the director asks them to take a break, so Laura asks if it's her fault and he says no. Then Tony asks the director to try the lead and Laura reluctantly agrees and asks Tony to take the lead role. Music starts and they start to dance but messes up the lift and Laura kicks a fuss and Tony walks off and the director gives Tony hell and they argue and the director tells Tony the truth about himself and Tony says everyone uses everyone and the director tells Tony to go to hell. Tony storms off and comes back in and faces Laura and starts to dance again and this time they get it right and they all clap their hands and the director asks them to repeat what they've just done so it gets repeated over and over and over again and the show starts to fall in place and then the show hits Broadway for its opening show and Tony is nervous, so is Laura. Then it's 5 minutes before the start of the show and the director gives Tony some advice. Then Jackie enters and gives him a good luck kiss and shuts the door. Tony's mum tells everyone that his son is in the show and then the show starts with Tony coming down slowly and he starts to move slowly and then he starts to dance, which is so stunning. The director says it was perfect. Then looks up and sees Laura. Then she climbs down the steps and then Tony picks her up and they start dancing together. Then Tony dances again solo and then again with Laura, but then kisses Laura and Laura scratches his face and runs off the stage and Jackie asks, why did you have to kiss Laura? Tony says it meant nothing. Then checks his eye and the director shouts at Tony. And they can't all be because they also can't have a personal war. Then tells him that it's the show and not you. That this is the show. This is about the show and not you. Then they go back on the stage and dance again together. Then they have a break. Then Laura apologises for scratching his eye and tells her, yeah, and like she asks him like, oh, we're having a party, do you want to come? He says he's got other commitments and Laura tells him that he hasn't got what it takes and Tony walks off. Then Tony comes back on stage and dances on his own again and then is bound by ropes and after that frees himself from the ropes and then starts to fight back dance style and then starts to dance with Laura. Then spins Laura around very fast and then she falls. And then he starts doing a solo. Gets his own back on Laura, which Jackie smiles but makes the director mad. Also the director shouts, jumps, and so does Jackie. And he tells Laura to jump, like he does a solo and then the next one he's on this platform and he tells Laura to jump, grabs her and lifts her above his head. His mum asks where does he learn to do this. Jackie and Tony walk out and Tony says that he couldn't do this tonight without knowing her and they're both talking. Laura steps out and her face at this scene says 1,000, like the picture that she's shown, like her expression on her face is told like 1,000 words as her jaw near enough drops to the floor as Tony starts to kiss Jackie. And as Tony starts to walk away, he says to Jackie, ooh, pardon me, all I want to do is strut. So he struts down the street. His strut is amazing. And then crosses the film. And then basically that's the end of the film. So sorry it's gone on too long. I know with like me having a cold and then it's hard for me to talk, but I've pushed through and I've done it. So thoughts on Staying Alive. As you guys know, it's one of my favourite films. John Travolta can actually dance in this film. Especially if you see the end and it's amazing. Especially when he goes, everyone's going to party and he goes, nah, all I want to do is strut. And fucking walks down the street strutting his stuff. I'm like, well, this is boss, this. So I think it's one of the most outstanding dance films, and it shows the struggles of what the dancers can face, like, you know, trying to audition for parts and stuff like that. I like that side of things as well. So, rating, I'm going to give this out of 10. 9 out of 10. I love the film, but there's just a little tiny bit missing for me. You know, as much as I enjoyed the film and that, I've just given it a 9 out of 10. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. It's 20 minutes long, and stay tuned for day 3 of 31 Days of Favourite Movies Challenge. So, see you all soon. Stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and I'll see you all soon.